Hey guys, EJ here, and I'm going to be talking to you about how to get into West Point. Wait, what do you say? Action! To get into West Point, you have to meet certain requirements, and those basic requirements are you have to be between the ages of 17 and 22 from the day that you actually start at West Point. So that's called our day. It'll be in May. In my case, it was May 21st. You'll go through your summer basic training, and then you'll start academics in the fall. And when you start at West Point, you need to be between the ages of 17 and 22 because they don't want anyone who's too young or too old. Additionally, you can't be married. So if you're thinking about marrying your high school sweetheart, you're going to have to hold off for a little while if you want to go into West Point. You cannot be married while you're at West Point. Additionally, you can't be pregnant, and you cannot be legally responsible for children while you're at West Point. Obviously, you're going to be doing a lot of physical training and military training while you're at West Point, and especially that first day when you start, you're going to be doing basic training, and you cannot be pregnant while you do those physical activities. And then they don't want you to be legally responsible for a child. You really won't have the time to be responsible for children, and your children won't be able to come to West Point. So you need to have another legal guardian take care of your children if you have children. And then also you need to take a physical or medical examination to check your physical and mental health. And you'll do that at a military medical facility near where you live. And then part of your application is they'll require you to take a physical fitness assessment, and that has a number of events including push-ups, sit-ups, running, and really you want to maximize your score in all of those events to be competitive with all the physical fitness studs that will be applying to West Point. One of the first things you want to do is really just go to the West Point or United States Military Academy website and apply online and start the application process so they have you on file, and you'll be answering questions and submitting all your application documents through that website. Okay, one of the other requirements to get into West Point is to get a nomination from your congressman or senator or the vice president. For the average applicant, your best bet is going to be getting a nomination from your congressman. Definitely apply to both your congressmen and senators, and each of them will have their own requirements to get their nomination. But most likely you will have to do an essay about why you want to get into West Point, and you'll have to get letters of recommendation. And for myself, I got my letters of recommendation from my English teacher and from my wrestling coach. And really, I think those are the kind of people you want to get your letters of recommendation from. You want to get from people that are close to you and really will put you in the best light and know you really well. And that's who you want nominating you and can write a good letter of recommendation. Okay, so when you're applying to West Point is really looking at 3 areas, and it's academics, your physical fitness, and your leadership. So for academics, I think their average GPA was 3.74. So really, a majority of the students applying are going to be A and B students. Obviously, the more competitive will be closer to the 4.0, but you can certainly get into West Point if you are an A and B student. I think that was my situation for sure. I was an A and B students, but West Point is really looking at the whole picture. They're looking for well-rounded people that are not only academically smart, but also physically fit and have leadership qualities. With that, to demonstrate your physical fitness, not only you're going to take the fitness test, but they want to see that you're physically active in your extracurriculars, that you most definitely want to be doing a sport. My situation was a little unusual, and I was a ballet dancer from 3rd grade to the end of high school. And so when I approached a West Point alumni that I got in contact through my coach, when I was talking to him, he told me how important it was to be in a team sport. Really, they want to see the team sports and that you work well on a team. The only one I could really get into with my experience, I went into wrestling because I had also done martial arts and other things in the past, and I really wasn't good at a lot of other team sports. So I approached the wrestling coach, who happened to be my marine biology teacher, and that was beginning of my junior year, and I was on varsity wrestling for the last 2 years of high school. That's not ideal. Really, you want to get into sports sooner than that, and you really want to demonstrate your leadership while on the sports by being a team captain and competing at the varsity level Okay, so other than being academically strong and physically fit, they're really looking at your leadership and your extracurriculars and demonstrating that in your application. So with that, they really like to see not only team captains on varsity sports, but also any other leadership or extracurriculars, such as other clubs you're participating in or being a leader in, and also being student body president or other leadership positions within your class, or anything outside of that that you might do and really contribute to community, volunteer service. All your extracurriculars is really what they want to see, that you're very active in other areas outside of academics and sports, and they really want to see and get to know you as applicant. So in my case, outside of school and sports, I had been doing ballet for a long time and putting on sports. Now that probably wasn't that beneficial to my West Point application, but it did show that I've gained valuable experience outside of school participating in that. Also, I helped volunteer with the Red Cross and other clubs. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I wish you the best of luck as you're applying to schools. I will say, as you're applying to West Point, really do your homework and think about why you want to go to West Point, and make sure it's a good fit for you. Okay, babe.
And good luck.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this interview, Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe and like and follow me